Hari Om. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitatvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakhatvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing Panchadasi and we are doing the Panchakosha Viveka, and the teacher said this Upadesam avapyaivam Acharya Tattvadarshinaha Panchakosha Vivekena Labhante Nirvritim Param. So Nirvritim Param Labhante by Panchakosha Vivekena, by discriminative intellect of the Panchakoshas, by using the discrimination of the Panchakoshas. And what are the Panchakoshas? And he has left it, and Labhante Param Labhante, that is, you can reach the highest. It means highest is the absolute truth, and absolute is nothing but the self that I am is the total self, or the Brahman. That is the highest reality. And that is, how do you know it is highest reality? That which cannot be negated is the highest truth. Truth is that which cannot be negated, which cannot be dismissed. And the only thing that cannot be dismissed is the one who is trying to dismiss, because he cannot dismiss himself. Everything else he can dismiss, the whole world he can dismiss, and the creator of the also, because there is no creation, creator also is dismissed. And what he cannot dismiss is himself, because he has to be there to dismiss himself. Therefore, the absolute truth is the self alone. And the self is Brahman, is what the scripture says. So the scriptural pramana comes into picture, or a means of knowledge, to indicate that what the self that you are is the self everywhere, or is the consciousness that supports everything. And that's the whole the Chandogya Upanishad, which is we are going to talk about in the few more slokas. So he has defined what are the five Panchakoshas. One is Annamaya Kosha, then Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. So these koshas are defined, depends upon the Sthula Sariram is Annamaya Kosha, that which is born of Annam and that is sustained by Annam. Annam means food, and that goes back into Annam. So essentially in the Taittiriya Upanishad it says Tasmat Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha Akashat Vayu Agni Apaha Adya Prithivya Oshadayaha. From Prithvi all the plant kingdom came, and Oshadi Byonnam. From the plant kingdom you have Annam, the food, and from food the Purushas and Jivas or living beings came into picture. So even the Oshadaya is, even the plant kingdom is coming from the earth, taking the food from the earth, and from the light from the sun, and water from the ground, and converting into the food. So that is we are blessed indeed that the basic food is prepared from the earth and the elements, from the space and water and the bhumi, earth, by the plant kingdom, and we all directly or indirectly has to depend upon the plant kingdom. So you are a vegetarian, was the first degree vegetarian or second degree vegetarian or third degree vegetarian, you have to be, because ultimately the food is coming from the plant only. Now, having defined the Annamaya Kosha, then Manomaya Kosha, and in the Manomaya Kosha it includes the prana, next was the Pranamaya Kosha, that includes Pancha Pranas plus Karmendriyas also, because the action is involved in all the Pranamaya Kosha. And then goes to knowledge wise, where the Jnanendriyas and the mind, where mind is Samsayatmikam, or that which has Vimarsha, that which has a doubtful type, is the mind, and that is included in the Manomaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha includes, because it's born out of the Sattva Guna, and therefore it includes the knowledge as well as the Jnanendriyas also. And then next higher level is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha also includes the Jnanendriyas plus its own, that is the discriminative intellect, Nischayatmikam, that which is differentiate what is right and what is wrong, all that comes under the intellect. So intellect is the one that starts, and from the intellect the mind from the mind pranas to the, because as we go from the sattva, rajas, tamo gunas. And the statement is Atma tat tanmayoho bhavet. The koshas are these sheets, but koshas themselves are not a problem. Problem comes when I identify myself with the kosha as I am this. So this is my kosha is different from I am this. This is my body is different from I am the body. When I say I am the body, then the body problems and the body limitations have become my limitations. That is the identification, tat tanmayaha. So the tat stands for each of the koshas here. So how do I do declutching this? By Anvaya Vyatireka logic. I have to use the intellect to separate, because this is not a physically mixing or chemically mixing. It is only by sannidhi matrena, just by its mere presence of it, it's getting entangled. So all I have to do is, well, I cannot separate them, all I have to do is intellectually or cognitively I have to separate. So the realization is recognition involves that use of the intellect by a discriminative intellect, and therefore a viveka is required, and this chapter itself is called the viveka. So we mentioned about 37 sloka. Anvaya Vyatireka Panchakosha Vivekataha Swatmanam Tata Udrutya Param Brahma Prapadyate. So Anvaya Vyatireka, so using Anvaya Vyatireka logic, Panchakosha Vivekataha, on Panchakosha means on discriminative of the Panchakoshas. So Atmanam Tata Udrusya. So Atmanam, so one's own essential self, Tataha, from these 5 sheets. So Udrutya, by lifting above, means I am separating, because it says Vivekataha. In cognitively I have to separate the self from non-self. Tada Udrutya. And Parabrahma Prapadyate. One can attain the highest reality. Parabrahma is same as Atma Swarupam. So by looking at the Atma, he is given Parabrahma, unless the Parabrahma is same as the Atma. And Parabrahma Prapadyate. So one attains the Supreme Brahman. So the Anvaya Vyatireka Abhyam, we mentioned a little bit. Anvaya Vyatireka means when there are two things together all the time, not two separate things here. When the two things are there all the time together, I have to use the logically I can separate it. Physically, if I can separate, then I don't need a logic for it. If the chair is if the pot is on the table, they are together, but I can just remove the pot from the table. Then only physical action is required, because it is called samyoga sambandha. But if the sambandha is very deep, I cannot physically separate it. I have to use cognition to separate it, and that's what is going to be. It's called Anvaya Vyatireka. So if there are two things are together all the time, and I have to find a situation where the one alone is and they're not the other. So if there are two things, I have to see which is if one is, the other is. If both are there, then I have to find the situation where one is and the other is not. That means the one that is all the time there in all the states is more real compared to the other one. I give example of the ring and the gold. So ring is, gold is. That's called Anvayam. Means both are there. But if I melt the ring, ring is not there, but gold still is. So therefore, I am separating these two by a process, and in the process, I filter out that which is more real compared to the ring. So ring is real and the gold is real, everything is real, Vyavaharika, if you say, they may be true, they are real as for transactional purposes, but we have to still accept that gold is of higher order of reality compared to the ring. So that is called ontological status. Ontological means the degree of order of gold is different from a ring. So same way Brahman is different from the world, because Brahman ontologically is a higher order of reality. How do you know Brahman is? Because in the scripture says Brahman itself became many. So if I accept the scriptural statement, so Brahman, because Brahman alone can become many, because Brahman being infinite, there is nothing other than Brahman. So if there is a creation, it's only Brahman only. So, but Brahman cannot create it. We'll go later. But since I am saying creation, it's only apparent creation. So apparent creation, I need an apparent driving force, and the Anvaya Vyatireka is also apparent process, but within the scale of that, it's same order of reality, because the mind that is doing discrimination is also of the same order of reality. So as long as there is a mind, there is a world also. Only when the mind is disappeared, then the world also disappears also. We'll analyze that, because the same thing happens in the dream state. So Anvaya Vyatireka Abhyam, so this, when I had to find a situation where the one is and the other is not, and in that process I can say the one that continuously stays in all states, that alone is real, the other one is only apparently real for some transactions. So ring is real enough for me to use it, and it is different from the bangle. So utility of the ring, the attributes of the ring is different from attributes of the bangle. The attributes of the ring doesn't belong to the attribute, and the attributes of the ring and the attributes of the bangle and the attributes of the necklace, being each one is different, do not belong to the gold, because gold is the same in all. So gold doesn't have the attributes of the ring, attributes of the bangle, attributes of the necklace. Their attributes only belong to the form of that gold. In that form it has attributes, and therefore form and attributes go together, and gold doesn't have any attributes of the ring and the bangle and the neck. That's why the avasthas of the ring and the bangle and the necklace does not affect the gold. So that's what Krishna says in the Maya Tatamidam Sarvam Jagad Avyakta Murtina Mastani Sarva Bhutani. All beings are in me. So whenever all beings are affected, I should be affected, because they are all in me. So the cell is in me. If the cell is getting damaged, and that will affect me, because that's how the cancer cells are. Cancer cells is in me only. So then they are following other cells, and that is affecting me. And therefore I cannot function, I have pain and all that. It's all that because of they are part of me. But here Krishna makes a statement very clearly, says, I pervade this entire universe, Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam Jagat Avyakta Murtina, in unmanifested form, and Mastani Sarva Bhutani, all beings are in me, and that avastha, their problems do not belong to me. So Maya Tadamidam Sarvam Jagad Avyakta Murtina Mastani Sarva Bhutani Nachaham Teshu Avastitaha Nachaham Teshu Avastitaha Teshu Avastha, their avastha, their states of experiences and problems. Avastha means all problems, that ring problems and the necklace problems may be different from ring problems, and ring problems may be different from the bracelet problem. All those problems belong to only Nama Rupa. Ring has a problem different from bangle's problem, but those problems do not belong to me. Gold can declare those are problems of only ring and the bangle and that. So ring has to solve its problem, bangle has to solve its problem. Bangle says, I don't have any problem, why should I care? All that. But all those problems are only at the transactional level, because at a higher order of reality, the gold is unaffected by the problems are avastha of the ring and the bangle and necklace. Same way, Anvaya Vyatireka, the Atma is there, this is there. So we have to use a situation where I am there, and the Panchakosha is there, and I am there when the Panchakoshas are not there. So that's what is going to be. Anvaya Vyatireka logic will be used to Panchakosha Vivekena. By using the Viveka discrimination, I have to reject that I am not the Panchakosha, even while saying that I will be using the Panchakosha. That's where the problem, and that's where the trick is also. Okay, now we go into the Anvaya Vyatireka logic of each of the koshas. So first one is Annamaya kosha. So how do we use the Anvaya Vyatireka logic to differentiate I am not the body, I am not the Sthula Sariram, and that's what we are going to see here in the next sloka 38. Abhane Sthula Dehasya, Abhane Sthula Dehasya, Swapne Yadbhanamatmanaha, Swapne Yadbhanamatmanaha, Sonvayo Vyatirekastad, Sonvayo Vyatirekastad, Bhanenyavavasanam, Bhanenyanavavasanam, Bhanenyanavavasanam, Bhane Anyani Avavasanam, Anyan. So Bhane Atmanaha, Atma sa Anvayaha, Vyatireka Anvaya. So Anyan Avavasanam, Anyan Avavasanam, Anyan Avavasanam. So Abhani Sthula Dehasya. So Sthula in the waking state. So waking state, during waking state, I am there, the body is there. And I take this is I am body. I am sitting here and I am not there because the body is sitting here. Therefore, whenever a body is, I am identifying with the body. So I cannot be at two places because the body can only be at one place. So all transactions, and that's why we have a Sthula Sariram is required in order to experience the Bhautika world, in all the world. So in all this transactional world, Vyavaharika Satyam, I have to use the body, whether it's a Jnani or a Jnani. So Jnani also will be using the body. He has to travel from one place to other place, and the body requires annam in order to sustain. So he has to eat, and he has to eat what the body should require. And if he has been brought up in particular environment, the body has got used to that particular type of food, and therefore the Jnani also, when you have a buffet with everything, he only selects what he likes because that's what his body got used to it. Oh, Swamiji is also eating like Swami. I'm also, what is the difference between? So one fellow said, I want to see why people are putting namaskaram to this Swami and nobody puts namaskaram to me. I want to see what does he do differently compared to it. So he watched, Swamiji, I want to observe you and I want to know why people respect you but nobody respects me, and let me see what you do. So he saw, he stayed with Swami for 1 week and observed. He also is getting up in the morning. This was also getting up very early in the morning, and he did everything exactly what Swami did. And he had lunch, he had breakfast, he had lunch, and he had dinner. He took a nap. He got up in the morning. In night he went to sleep. And the morning get up, everything, brush his teeth. All activities are exactly identical. Then after 1 day, he says, well, you are not doing anything different from what I am. But still people are respecting you. And when people are not respecting me, how come? Then Swami says, when I eat, I eat. When I walk, I walk. When I sleep, I sleep. When I get up, I get up. So that's what also I'm doing. Said, no. When you are walking or when you are eating, you are not doing or walking and eating. You are doing something else. He says, oh, I'm eating just like you. Your mind is somewhere else. The mind is not in the present. Mind is either thinking of the past or of the future. Whereas where my mind is always in the present, observing what is everything else. So I am present all the time. I live in the present only. You live in the past or in the future. Because every time, says this gives a test, when you freeze your mind any time, even when you are walking, when you freeze your mind, you find that your mind is thinking something else than walking. That means the mind is attached to the past and the future, and someone said you don't live at all in the present. Present is what? Present is right now, and it is a right now is a wave on which you will be always moving in the present only. There is no real present, because the present is a gap where the past is meeting the future. So you can reduce the gap smaller and smaller and smaller. So this year, this month, today, and this hour, and this second, all that you keep on, and this microsecond, picosecond, and you can go on. It becoming smaller and smaller and smaller to the degree that the presence itself is disappearing. And how am I going to live anything at all in those into microseconds? It's already going to be future or going to be past already. So I cannot really live in the present also. What is there actually is the time itself is a mithya. That's what the whole concept is. Time itself is a mithya. What is really there is the one who is doing the division. So the one who said that today, this hour, he is dividing, and the one who is dividing is different from the time, because he can divide the time. And so he is independent of time. That's called his transcendental meditation. Transcendental meditation is not sitting somewhere or floating somewhere. It is transcendental meditation is transcending the space and time. Time is the gap between two sequential events, and space is gap between two simultaneous events or simultaneous observations. And you are an observer independent of the events and observations, and to live in the present is to be constantly conscious of your presence. That's called witnessing consciousness also. Anyway, that's different, but we are talking about Sthula Sariram. Says, in the waking state, I identify myself with the gross body. Whenever I say I am this, I am fat, I am black, I am Indian, I am this, all with the skin depth only. All that I am identifying with the superficial, the Annamaya Kosha, because it is a born out of food, sustained by food, and goes back into the food. That's why he said, therefore, abhane sthula dehasya swapne yad bhanamatmanaha. So, but when I go to a dream state, swapne, I had to discard this physical body and go into dream state. When I go enter into dream state, I am sitting in the beautiful bed in the AC room and all that, but when I dream, I may be in the forest or in somewhere else or in the heaven also. So I am in a different world with a different body. So I may be blind in the waking state, but I have perfect 20/20 vision in my dream. So this body is no more I am conscious of, and I am conscious of some other body because I enter into some other body. That's what happens is Upavishati. That means I create the world, dream world, and I enter into my own creation as a subject in the dream, as an individual. There I enter and experience the world that I myself created. Swami Teja Mahendra gave a beautiful example. He says he was dreaming, and suddenly he dreamt that he was in the classroom, and he was in the classroom and he was taking examination, and the teacher gave a question paper, and he was sweating looking at the questions and all that, and he couldn't answer any of the questions. He read the questions, read it again, but nothing happened. So, and he failed in his examination. Says, I created the dream, I created the question paper also, I created the teacher, and I failed in my own dream. So that's what happens. So I create the tiger in my own dream, and I am running away, chasing with the hungry tiger, and tiger is, I am praying the Lord, please save me, and the tiger is also playing. He says he has already finished. Oh, the Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, and it wants the food, starving for many years. And it's also praying, oh Lord, let me catch this prey. I've been starving, and thank God that I got food today, and I want to catch it. So both are praying. What does God do? You just watch, see what's going to happen. So anyway, abhane sthula dehasya swapne yad bhanamatmanaha. So abhane in the swapne. So in the dream, abhane sthula dehasya, I am not conscious of the. So in the waking state, I am there. I am as a pure existent consciousness. Atma is there, and I am, this body notion is also, because body is also I am conscious of, and the tadatmyam with the physical body, bhautika annamaya kosham, I am identifying myself with the annamaya kosham. When I go to a dream state, then I am still there, because I am there, I am the dreamer, but I am not identifying with the physical body. Therefore, using Anvaya Vyatireka, so I am there, it is there, I am still there, it's not there, so I am not this. Because it comes and goes. Whenever something goes and goes, I am not that. I am the one who is staying, and the thing has come and thing has gone. So I am independent. So I am there in the house, and when I went out, house is not there, I am somewhere else. So I am not the house, because I could go out. In the same way, abhane sthula dehasya swapne yad bhanamatmanaha sa anvayo vyatirekastat bhanena so anvaya vyatireka bhana atmani bhane anyan avabhasanam. So in the bhana atmanaha, while perceiving the atma, bhani anyana avabhasanam, not being able to perceive the gross body. That means Vyatireka doesn't work, and it means they are not both absent is Vyatireka, both present is Anvaya. So both present is there, but both absent is not there. If the body is gone and I am also gone, that means I am the body only. But body is not gone, but I am still there, so I am not the body. So that's called Panchakosha. So it means I have to reject the understanding that I am not the body. Remember, it is very statement easy to say I am not the body. I can, just like, so I am not addicted to coffee, somebody said, because he is getting 10 cups or so, he can make a statement. Only when it is not there, you can identify, you have a problem, that hey, run around for a cup of coffee all over, then only we will see how much you are addicted. The same way, when the body is having a pains, then to claim that I am not the body, while body is having a pain, while I am using the body with the painful body, undergoing the pains that the body is seeing, be aware of those pains consciously, then I can say I am not the body. So that is the litmus test to say that I am not the body. Otherwise I can make it, oh, I know I am not the body because I am in the dream state, I am not that, and this body is there. So I can give a lecture, but when it comes to such, therefore as a sadhana here, we are talking about Panchadasi is for us. So now experiment yourself sitting, says, how can I detach myself with that? How do I detach myself? By standing apart and looking at the body as an object separate from you. That becomes a meditation. Meditation is the standing apart and looking at your own body and also all the problems of the body. Body has a problems, but you do not have a problem. So even when I be conscious of the body, always have the mind or one part of the mind consciously aware that I am witnessing the body. I am not the body, I am witnessing the body. I am always with the body when I am in the waking state. I cannot avoid it. And because I am, this body is always there. In the Bhautika Sariram, I had to interact. So body is given for me to interact, but I had to say this is a karanam, instrument for me to use it. And I am the user, and therefore I can stand apart and use the body for whatever required. If the body is useful to the degree it is useful. It comes to a stage where the body is no more useful or no more useful for all the things, then use it to the best that it can, because it can be repaired a little bit. Go to hospital or do something, it can be repaired to something. If it cannot be repaired, then you have to make it the body flat on the bed only, because it cannot do anything else. So lie down, let the body lie down and be a witness of that. You are not separate from the body, you are part of the body, but you can stand apart, viveka, using body, say my body is now lying down, but I am witnessing it, because the body is not able to get up and do. So let me see how the body is going to act in the process. So that itself is, you will have the problem, but problems of the body will not be affecting you. It is the mind that really gets affected. Because when I go to even deep sleep state, I am not even conscious of this body also, not conscious of the Swapna body also. But still I am there. So I can detach, and therefore problems of the body doesn't belong to me anymore. So that's why people take, when they have pain, they take a medicine to go to sleep. Otherwise they don't go to sleep. Why do you go to sleep? Because I can detaching my attachment to the body. If I can do that while living consciously, then the pains will not be there. I can watch my pain also. So objectification of the suffering, also the enjoyment also, if we can objectify, then it doesn't affect me. That's essentially the trick of whatever the yoga is also. That's a jnana yoga essentially. So saha anvaya vyatirikastad. So the bhani anya navabhasanam. So even while they are not there in the deep sleep state, anya the annamaya kosha avabhasanam is I am not aware of in the dream state. Therefore I am not the physical body. So am I the dream body? That means now I am going to linga sarira. Even that I have to reject it using the anvaya vyatireka. So it's easier to go from a gross, or I am not the world, we can actually say. I am not the body. It's very difficult, but one can develop. But now when we talk about the mind, because say I am not the mind, so I am not the mind. We'll see what happens in the linga sarira. Linga bhani sushuptau syat, linga bhani sushuptau syat, atmano bhanamanvayaha, atmano bhanamanvayaha, vyatirekastu tadbhane, vyatirekastu tadbhane, lingasya bhanamuchyate, lingasya bhanamuchyate. Together, linga bhani sushuptau syat, atmano bhanamanvayaha, vyatirekastu tadbhane, lingasya bhanamuchyate. In the sushuptau, essentially in the deep sleep state. Now we are going from in order to discard the linga sariram, in order to discard the Sushma Sariram, I am going to another state where I am there and the Sushma Sariram is there in the dream world as well as in the waking world. But I am now detaching and going into the deep sleep state, and in the deep sleep state this whole thing is folded, and I am not folded, I am there because I am. Since I slept very well, I was there. If I am not going to be there, then nobody will go to sleep. I know I will be there, guaranteed. Therefore, I comfortably go to sleep. In fact, I long for a good sleep because I can get rid of the problems of the mind as not my problems. If I can get rid of the problems of the mind as not problems while still awake, then you are a jnani. So jnani is the one who can look at the problems as these problems belong to the linga sariram or sushma sariram. They do not belong to me. It's not, I have to go to deep sleep state in order to realize, because in order to realize this, I need the linga sariram. This is where the the most toughest part is because I cannot be in the deep sleep state and then realize, I cannot realize this, even though here in Anvaya Vyatireka logic is being used in the waking state, not in the dream state or not in the deep sleep state. It's in the waking state only I have to use the Viveka because I need the Buddhi. Viveka is using a Buddhi only. So I need the Buddhi to say that I am not the Buddhi, because Linga Sarira includes the Buddhi, mind and all that. So all that prana and karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, the manas and the Buddhi, all together package is called Linga Sariram or Sukshma Sariram. Even though there are different categories in that, and because of the Rajoguna or Sattva-guna, Rajoguna or the Tamoguna. So the Tamoguna is not there, but at least the Rajas and Sattva-guna. And this is what we are talking about. Sushupti, Linga Abhani, not aware of the presence of the mind, Abhani or Sushma Sariram, Atmanabhanam Anvayaha. So I am there in the waking state and the Linga Sariram is there. Linga Sariram is Sushma Sariram. I am there in the dream state and the Sushma Sariram is there. But I am there in the deep sleep state, but Sushma Sariram is not there. Say, how do you know that I am there? Because I get up in the morning, I slept very well. So I was there to sleep very well. Therefore, I was present there. But at the same time, I am not conscious of my own presence, not conscious of the absence of anything other than the presence of or absence of subject-object duality expressed as akhandakara avidya-vritti. That's what is the deep sleep state is. So I don't know. And because of the absence of the mind that has the problems, all the duality is gone, because duality arises with the mind only. When the mind or Linga Sariram only, there is a subject-object duality that arises in the mind. But in the Sushupti, I am there and the world maybe there, may not be there, because I am not conscious of it. So that is there. So in the process of in that state, I cannot recognize my presence also. I cannot recognize that I don't know also. So, do you know anything? I don't know. So, do you know? But I don't know that I don't know also in the deep sleep state. Means I am not conscious of the ignorance, because to be conscious of the ignorance, to conscious of the knowledge, I need again mind. So, one has to be careful that I cannot recognize I am myself without the mind. That tells you that one cannot be in the deep sleep state and realize. If realization occurs, because I am experiencing the Advaita in the sense, because experience of the absence of duality is non-duality, but that experience is not a knowledge. Therefore, experience differs from a knowledge. Even though I am experiencing the absence of duality, there is no knowledge of the experience there in the deep sleep state. I cannot shift my attention that I am experiencer and this absence of everything. Presence or absence is nothing to do with me. I am ever present. Therefore, in me there is neither presence nor absence also. Also has to be recognized that can only be done by the Buddhi. So one has to be very careful, not that I have to, the mind gets destroyed and the one realizes, because people misinterpret, and the possibility of misinterpretation is there. It says, Manasantu kim argane krute naiva manasam arga arjavat. In the Upadesasara, Ramana Maharshi says, Manasantu kim argane krute. When I try to inquire what is this mind, and who is going to inquire? Naiva manasam, mind is not there. Who says mind is not there? It's the mind only. Then what mind is not there? So that I have to understand. The problematic mind is not there. The mind with the agitation mind is there. I am looking at the mind, so mind has to look at the mind. There is the same problem with the J. Krishnamurti also. I have to observe my mind. Who is observing the mind? Mind only. There is nothing else I have to observe the mind. Otherwise I go to sleep only. So one has to be careful. So Vyatirekastu tad bhane lingasya bhanamuchyate. So Vyatireka tat abhane. So in the Sushupti there is no linga sariram and there still I am. Therefore, unlike Vyatireka logic involves that I am not the Sukshma Sariram. Because it's not there, I am still there. So I am there in the waking state, I am there in the dream stage, and I can neglect the Sukshma Sariram. When I go to deep sleep state, it's not there, but I am there. Therefore, I cannot be Linga Sariram also. This analysis has to be done in the waking state. So with that, we go to the next sloka after we come back. Let's do the Purnamadasu. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.